Good morning. We are in Isaiah chapter 42 this morning, and I just want to encourage you. I think it would be great if you would just read these chapters of Isaiah in their entirety. They are so full of beautiful prophetic words regarding the kingdom that will be established, as well as the Messiah who would come. And we're only picking out excerpts when we go through this morning meditation, but you're missing so much if you don't really jump into these chapters and spend some time thinking about them and letting the Lord speak to your hearts. One other encouragement I'll make before we get into this section of the Word this morning is that every time we come to the Word, we should come with an expectation of hearing from God. And we should pray for ears that can hear. We should ask that the Holy Spirit would fill us and interpret the Word to our heart, because we should go into His Word not as a lesson to be learned or just a book to be memorized, but as a communion with God. And God who wrote this Word is also God who interprets this Word to our heart. So we should say to Him, Lord, open my ears, let me hear. I want to come and be in your presence. And it makes all the difference as you're reading when we come with that expectant heart. So Isaiah chapter 42, verses 1 through 4. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my elect one, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the Gentiles. He will not cry out, nor raise his voice, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoking flax he will not quench. He will bring forth justice for truth. He will not fail, nor be discouraged, till he has established justice in the earth, and all the coastland shall wait for his law. This is a messianic prophecy, talking about the one who God would send, his servant. This is a reference in the Old Testament to Jesus Christ, and as he would be born to be the servant of the Lord, who God would delight in. God put his Spirit upon him, and we see this when Jesus goes to be baptized by John the Baptist. The Holy Spirit falls upon him, and that's in fact the way that John was able to recognize him. There was nothing else special about Jesus. He didn't have a halo on his head. He wasn't the best looking guy. He wasn't the tallest. He was an average person. And John said, I wouldn't have recognized him except that the Spirit came down upon him. He said he will bring forth justice to the Gentiles, that his ministry would not just be a ministry to Israel, but a ministry to the Gentiles as well. And how wonderful that is, because we who are not born into the nation of Israel would have been without hope if salvation was only for the Jew. It does come first to the Jew, but it was opened up to all people. And we, who are part of the Gentile nations, can have an equal peace in Jesus Christ and in salvation, just as the Jews had. And I'm so grateful to God for that. Verse 2 says, he will not cry out, nor raise his voice, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. And that couples with the next verse, a bruised reed he will not break, a smoking flax he will not quench. This speaks to the gentleness of his nature and his humility. Meaning that when he's in the street, he's not causing a ruckus. He's not bringing attention to himself. He's not shouting people down. He's not winning people by the force of his personality or by calling undue attention to himself. Rather, that he would be meek and mild. And when he comes across those who are broken, those that are weak, even something as tender as a reed that's already bruised, he's not going to break it. He's going to mend it. He's going to be gentle. Or a smoking flax, he's not going to quench it. Whatever little bit of flame could be brought forth from something, he's going to bring it out, not put it out. And that's how he found us, isn't it? We were all broken. We were all in need. And he could have looked at us and said, you got what you deserved. But he didn't. He picked us up and told us how much he loved us, and how he was going to die for us, and how we could live eternally because of the blood that he sacrificed upon Calvary. and that little bit of an ember of hope that was within us, he would fan into a flame, a beautiful fire of faith, that we could then believe the great promises of God. It says he will bring forth justice for truth. Justice and truth together. Isn't that a wonderful concept? Many times in our society, they can be separated. What is just under the law may not actually be true, and truth sometimes doesn't always come out in justice. But in Jesus Christ, those things are married. He will not fail nor be discouraged till he has established justice in the earth, and the coastland shall wait for his law. I'm really excited when I read this, because if I were Jesus and I saw the works of all mankind and how hard-hearted we are and how difficult we can be and how we oppose God at every turn, how all of us, none of us were looking for God. We were all going our own way. And if I was looking at a people like this, full of sin, I would get discouraged. But it says that he did not become discouraged, even though he had to walk up that hill to Calvary. And it said that he would not fail. And Jesus on the cross yelled and said, "It is finished. It is done. The work is complete." The work of salvation was made permanent once and for all those who would accept what Jesus did upon Calvary that day. But he has more work to do. He's going to come and he's going to establish justice in the earth and establish his law, God's law, throughout all of creation. And that's what we have to look forward to for him coming back. Real justice, a great king upon the throne, no more corruption, no more failed government, no more violence permeating the society, but rather the love, the justice, the truth, the equity of God upon the throne. And I, with all the coastlands, can't wait until that law is established throughout all the earth. And I'm sure you can't either. Read these over. Think about this. Think about the king who would come. So glorious, but yet so humble. A bruised reed he will not break. A smoking flax he will not quench. What a wonderful God we have. Have a great day, guys. Bye.